And then Jesus came with a strange message that says, you have to forgive your enemy. And it's like, what? Impossible. It's an eye for an eye. That's the law. Yeah?
I'm not sure where you're going with this,
Not a lot of people are. The law is there for children. The law is there for those that would be badly behaved and kick off and slam down bikes and not think of others. Yeah? And if it got to such a stage where it needed the law can be applied. Anybody who's like totally anti-law, anti-rules is not going to help anything. You know, there's those people that just want to challenge everything the system does. What about agreeing with some of the things the system does?
It just seems to me that you're putting an awful lot on this guy for just putting his bike down on the floor because he was in a bit of a
He's not really important. The example is important. I could say I slammed the bike then. I did this. Yeah?
Big deal.
Yeah, big deal. It doesn't really matter. What matters is the parable, the message in the story. That story could be a myth. It could be about Superman, Batman, Jesus Christ, Buddha. You can take it as myth. They don't really exist. However, those stories, those kinds of situations, things that happen to human beings can also happen to us. And that's what I think wisdom is the ability to apply things like historical knowledge.
But you say that you're not a human being.
Of course I am. I'm including myself in this. We apply historical knowledge and what is a good remedy for as many human beings as possible. That's what I think most people want wisdom to be. They don't always agree with wisdom of, let's say, the wisdom of sacrificing 100,000 people so that, you know, the greater good. You know, one can be sacrificed so millions can live. Well, that choice would, I think, have to be down to the one who's going to do that. And they would have to recognise that.
It's pretty fucking extreme though, isn't it?
Well, that's what Christ is. That's what it's said to represent. So it is very extreme. So why is something so extreme taken so lightly? Because for any man, any one of us to give up our life for others,
why are you going off on this tip? I don't understand.
Well, the ultimate sacrifice is to give up your life, but to give is the way of living, the best way of living,
Right.
the wisdom way of living.
Right.
Yeah. Had he just rode off and let her have the last say, that would have been it.
Right.
Him responding, reacting, I say it's something that most of us do, innit?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know the girl. Do you know what I mean?
Responding in anger. Someone says something about you, you don't agree. All right, let's say it's the law now. Say the police have pulled you over and they said you were speeding, which you didn't do, and you get angry with them, and you react like that.
Really?
Let's just. Can you react like that in all situations? This is supposed to be someone he cares about, apparently, and that's how he reacts. So when you don't even care about them, let's say, and you react in that way, is it better or worse?
Does it matter?
I think it does. I think character, behaviour is your saviour. If you behave well, if you have good manners, you can say the same things or get the same information across, and they'll actually probably receive it and look to help you to fix it. But if you go at them with aggression, if you go at them with this person's my enemy and they need to do what I'm telling them to do.
So what we're talking about then is
us recognising that everything we've accused the system of, we still do.
But
And until we're better than them.
If it was a young kid,
Yeah.
and his girlfriend,
Yeah.
then you know, those kind of mistakes are the mistakes that you need to make to find shit out. You know, and that's when shit starts getting real.
Yeah. Yeah. That's it.
There's no right or wrong with that, you know what I mean? Because if you're finding shit out by making mistakes, then that's how you learn.
Mm-hmm. Well, is there such a thing as a severe mistake that actually we punish those mistakes? There was a guy yesterday or the day before, he was locked up because he stabbed his girlfriend, you know, in a fit of anger. Again, another anger situation. Something's causing the anger. And we'll get to that again in a minute.
Prevention,
but his emotional.
Rather than shutting the gate after the fucking.
Right. Well, prevention is control your emotions.
Is it?
Yes. I mean, you look at Star Wars. Star Wars is a great myth, a great parable to use. Darth Vader. He became Darth Vader because he allowed his emotions, his fear. Fear is an emotion. So is love. But he used his negative emotions and they got the better of him and he became Darth Vader. He started killing people. This guy, he became Darth Vader. He killed someone he loved, his girlfriend. Well, why was he even bothered in the first place? Because he loved her. But is it love?
Well, look at all the millions of people in relationships with girlfriends and boyfriends that don't do that.
Yeah, exactly, but...
There's quite a lot in comparison.
Loads. I'm glad you said that.
I mean, it's just one thing that gets fucking put there in the press, and it's like... So, in a way, you know, like...
The press is to blame.
Well, maybe that kind of propaganda it could be seen as a good thing, because it's like saying, well, you know...
We're looking out for this and we don't want it. So
not even that. It's like, you know... People look at it and say, fucking hell, well, you know, I won't do that. But then...
Well, do you think the law in that case is right or wrong?
Unless you're him, do you know what I mean? You don't, unless you're that guy, and you know, he fucking did it. So
his reasons.
He must have had a fucking good reason for doing it, but his reason was probably, you know, you just can't fucking do that. You can't do that, and it's that knowing that you can't do that.
Do you think
because ultimately it ain't going to do nobody. It's a lose-lose situation as opposed to a win-win situation, and people don't see the win-win situation enough to believe in it.
Yeah.
People have lost faith in the win-win situation because they've never fucking seen it. Do you know what I mean? I mean, how are you supposed to know about
a win-win
like unless someone shows you?
An agreement.
People don't get that.
An agreement even to disagree. To allow others to have their belief, their opinion, their way of living, and it might be totally contrary to yours. You know, some men and women, they just want to be with someone. They don't want to be alone.
Yeah,
and the reason they don't want to be alone is they're not self-fulfilled. The things that they need to fulfill for themselves, they feel that only others can help them do it. And therefore, the kind of... That person is the crutch. That relationship is really the crutch to their ego. There's a lot of young guys and they judge their lives on having lots of money, having lots of girls, having lots of friends.
Why is
okay?
That? Why is that?
Why is that? Well, it starts in school. You said it before. And I'd hate to be in American school because sorority... Oh.
It seems like you're always talking about God and Jesus, and I'm always playing fucking devil's advocate.
No, I think a lot of the time, because the roles get reversed when I'm talking to my brother. It's just what needs to be said, and both needs to be said because human beings live in duality. Meaning to say, everything we do has the effect of what we do, obviously, and it also has an equal and opposite effect. Yeah. When you said before win-win, a win-win is an agreement. Both people win. Let's say people go to court and they start off as enemies and they come out as friends, right. So if making a compromise.
If you look at it in a physical sense, I mean, you talk about every action as an equal opposite reaction.
Mm-hmm.
So, like when a star explodes in space,
it creates more stars.
It blows outwards, doesn't it, in a big fucking sphere. And it goes in every direction. Yeah. It doesn't just go in 4 directions or 6 directions. It goes in every direction.
Yeah. It creates more stars. It spreads that substance throughout the galaxy. There's those constellations. You know, you've got the clouds of dust, and those clouds of dust are seen scientifically as the seeding points where stars gather their material. Slowly, gravity pulls those smaller bits together, and as they get bigger and bigger, they get more and more gravity.
Right, so what you're talking about is like the butterfly effect, isn't it? That every action is going to get translated across time.
This is a sealed universe. It's one universe contained. It's a one homogeneous thing. The planet Earth and the stars and everything are a part of that.
How do you know that?
How do we know that? Well,
how do you know that? You're saying it like you know that. How do you know that?
Well, as far as I know, I look up at the sky, there's a sun, there's clouds, there's sky. And the sky turns dark when that sun is not there, and then the moon appears and then there's stars. Okay? Through the studies we have done, again, I'm standing on the shoulders of giants, and assuming that all of those lights are suns.
You're talking about science now, and science has always been written by history. It's been written by the winners, isn't it? And the people who win in science are the people who make the most fucking money. The people who make the most money aren't necessarily telling the truth.
Well, I'm a scientist, you're a scientist, right? I studied sound engineering, and if those principles are not correct, then I wouldn't be able to repeat those. And this is where Jacques Fresco, he can feel very confident in his form of knowledge, and I agree.
Who's Jacques Fresco?
He's the guy behind the Venus Project that was linked to the Zeitgeist 3 movie when they was looking for solution think. And Jacques Fresco's idea of an automated world where engineers build solutions and money is no object, that's great. That is what the world has the ability to do. The will is not there. And the reason the will is not there is because we all have to see ourselves as one human family, having, you know, one common cause, as it were. And that kind of...
like global warming.
I'm about to say, you see, they are using Agenda 21 and global warming and New World Order, and that scares a lot of people because they're not a part of it. They're not in charge. They're not even in charge of their life right now, so it's going to get worse. And whatever people tend to imagine something is going to be, they're attracting that more and more. Whereas if they start to say, well, no, hold on a minute, I am government too. I'm going to be in there and I'm going to be doing this, that. What I want to do, I want to be fulfilled. Live the life you love and love the life you live, as Bob Marley says. Too many people are living the life that they've been given and they don't do enough with it. It's the parable of the servant that was given 5 talents and 2 talents and 1 talent, and some that have got 5 talents, they produce more while God's away. You know, while you're living your life, you know, you do what you do with what you've got. But some people who have just got benefits just do nothing and bury all talents and say, well, I'm not capable of working until I've got A, B and C in place. And then there's other people who are on them same benefits and they'll get themselves off benefits and create a business. Do you know what I'm saying?
Where's God when he's away then? He's obviously not on business, is he?
Well, you're in charge. You're making decisions. When God's in charge, you're not making no decisions. It's just stuff's happening and there you go. You know, while we are in life, you know, we have our own separate identity to a certain extent. We believe we have that identity and therefore that gives us the responsibility automatically. There's no way we could turn around if there's a judgment day when you die and say to God, well, you didn't give me a chance. Didn't give you a chance? You know, unless you was like blind and disabled and had no arms and no legs, you had loads of chances. What you're talking about? Have you even considered what your hand can do? Just look at your hand for a minute. 4 fingers and a thumb and what it can do, and all the tools that are in your room made by them 4 fingers and a thumb, and the mind and the heart and the need.
Well, that's how people who've got that kind of disability cope with it, is by fucking making shit happen with what they've got.
Well, they look for solutions. A guy with no arm tries to create an arm that he can wear.
Or you're just living in misery all the fucking time, and you need a relief from that misery because it gets fucking boring.
Well, this is why I said we're again to blame, because when the newspapers feed us,
I'm only saying
the vomit,
because I've been in a lot of fucking pain for a large part of my life now.
Yeah, and then the government will say something like, oh, the NHS is going to have less funding for people with pain, and then you get an effect based on that. But the real effect should be, okay, that's been said now, so now what's my duty, what's my job? To say we don't want that, number 1. Number 2, that's going to change. What is it you need? Oh, you're saying there's not enough money. Well, how can we get more money? Let's be asking some real motherfucking questions for a minute and say, you've given us the problem and that's needed because that's where we're at. Now the solution to the problem is we want it to continue. How can it continue? Oh, there's a shortfall of such and such money. We need more money.